Okay, well, let's get started. So we're going to start with the body scan again today. So we're going to lay flat. Remember though, if it is uncomfortable for you to lay flat on the floor, you can always do these somatic exercises sitting in a chair. I'm going to mute everybody. So if you do have any questions, make sure to wave at me. I'd like to mute Stephen in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear him, but he's singing in the background. Okay, so we're going to start at the top of our head. And I like to just do a little roll of the head gently side to side. Just see how your neck and your shoulders feel. And then moving from your head and your neck and into your shoulders. And paying attention to how your shoulders feel today. Does one shoulder feel heavier than the other? Does one feel more off the floor than the other? And moving from your shoulders down into your arms. Taking notice how your arms are laying today. Are you holding them on your belly? Do you have them on the floor? Are your palms facing up or down? Just notice how you're holding them and how they feel. And then moving from your arms back into your torso. And coming down through your torso, through your belly, into your back. How does your back feel today? Do you feel some tension in your low back? And from your low back and into your hips and pelvis. And from your hips down through your legs. Does one leg feel more turned out than the other? Does one feel heavier than the other? Moving from your legs and into your feet. And just taking mental note of how you feel in this moment. And then we're going to start, as we started every class this week, our warm up with our flattens and our tilts. So we're going to bend our knees, bring our feet to standing, and your arms can just stay wherever they're comfortable. And remember to start this movement very small so that we can warm up together and you're not throwing yourself into any kind of cramp, especially anybody who is feeling tension in their low back today. So we're going to start with the flatten. I like to do this on an exhale. So we're going to inhale first. And exhale, rolling your pubic bone towards your ribs, bringing your ribs down to your pubic bone as you flatten your low back into the floor. Hold for a moment. And now super slow and smooth, inhale, as you slowly release. Slowly releasing in your tummy muscles. As slow and smooth as you can. And when you've finished releasing, make sure to rest. And then we'll repeat that one again. So inhale first. And exhale, bringing your pubic bone up towards your ribs, pulling your ribs down towards your pubic bone as you flatten your back into the floor. Hold for a moment. And slowly begin to release as you inhale again, slow and smooth as you can. And when you've finished releasing, make sure to rest. And we'll repeat that one again. So start with an inhale. And exhale, bringing your pubic bone towards your ribs, pulling your ribs down to your pubic bone as you flatten your back into the floor. Hold for a moment. And now really focusing on those tummy muscles, slow and smooth release. As slow and smooth as you can. And when you've finished releasing, make sure to rest. And now we're going to go into the tilt. So we're going to do this one with an inhale. So inhale and tilt, rolling your tailbone forward and down into the floor. Just a small little tilt of the hips. Hold for a moment. So your low back now should be off the floor. And now super slowly as you exhale, slow and smooth. releasing the contraction in your low back, as slow and smooth as you can. And at the end of the release, make sure to rest. And we'll repeat that one again. Inhale and tilt as you roll your tailbone forward and down into the floor, tilting your low back up off of the floor. Hold for a moment. And exhale as you super, super slowly release the contraction in your low back as your hips and pelvis slowly come back to their neutral rested position. And rest. And one more time, same one. Inhale, rolling your tailbone forward and down into the floor. Hold for a moment. Exhale, super, super slow and smooth, using as much control as you can to smooth out the release of the contraction in your back. And when you've finished releasing, make sure to rest. And now we're going to put those two movements together. Remember to keep them small. At the end of the class today, we'll be doing the full arch and curl, and we'll make that one a little bigger. So make sure to keep this one nice and small. We're going to start with the inhale and the tilt. So inhale and tilt as you roll your tailbone forward and down into the floor. Hold for just a moment. Exhale as you super, super slowly begin to release the contraction in your back. Slow and smooth. And when you're at the very end of the release, you're going to go into flatten, bringing your pubic bone to your ribs and your ribs down towards your pubic bone as you flatten your low back into the floor, holding for just a moment. And now super slowly releasing the contraction in your abdominal muscles. Super slow and smooth. And when you're at the end of the release of the tummy muscles, going back into tilt again. So you're really working to make these two movements now smooth and together. So you're rolling the tailbone forward and down into the floor, holding for a moment. Exhale, super slowly releasing the contraction in your back. Slow and smooth as you can. And at the end of that release, going into flatten again, bringing your pubic bone to your ribs and your ribs to your pubic bone as you flatten your back into the floor. Holding for a moment, and super slowly now releasing in your tummy muscles. As slow and smooth as you can, with control, slowly releasing. And we're going to do that one more time. So at the end of that release, going into tilt again, rolling your tailbone forward and down into the floor. Holding for just a moment. And exhale, super slowly, releasing the contraction in your back. And at the end of the release, going into flatten, one more time, bringing your pubic bone to your ribs to your pubic bone as you flatten your low back into the floor. Hold for just a moment. And super slowly release. As slow and smooth as you can. And make sure to rest when you've finished. Good, and now we're going to go into our wash rag. So you're going to bring your arms straight out to your sides. So they'll be on the floor, straight out to the sides. And we're going to start with our right palm will be facing up and our left palm will be facing down. And you're going to gently roll your head now to the right so that you're looking at your right palm. So right palm is up and you're looking at your right palm. And now super slowly with control, begin to lower your knees down to the left side. So your head and your hands are going to stay as your knees slowly begin to drift down to the left. Remember that your hips will come off the floor, your back will come off the floor, and your feet will now be turned on their sides. And only going as far as you can go comfortably. And now super slowly, we're going to reverse everything. So slowly now your knees are going to come back up to center as they begin to drift to the right. Your right palm will turn downwards. Your left palm will begin to turn upwards, and your head will now turn to the left. Looking to the left, and your knees are now drifted down to the right. And slowly, with control, switching that again. Slow as you can, bringing the knees back up and over to the left as you slowly roll your arms. Left palm will be rolling down, right palm rolling up, and your head will be turning to the right. Holding for a moment. And then super slowly switching again. Slowly bringing those knees up and over as they begin to slowly drift to the right. Slowly rolling the arms so your palm on the right is palm down. Your left palm will be rolled up and your head is looking to the left. Holding for a moment and super slowly switching again. Slowly bringing the knees up and over as your arms begin to rotate. The right arm is rotating up to palm facing up. Left palm rotating down. Head is turning to the right, looking at your palm. Remember to stay in your comfort zone and slowly at your own pace. Now you're going to do that one more time to each side. So slowly switching your knees, slowly bringing them up to center and slowly letting them drift down to the right as you slowly rotate your arms. Left palm will rotate up, right palm will rotate down. Head is looking to the left. Hold for a moment and then slowly switching sides one more time. And when you've finished, one more to each side, you will come back to center. Slowly with control, bringing your knees back to your center position. Making sure to rest for a moment. And then we're all going to turn over onto our bellies next. So when you're ready, without rushing, rolling over to your belly. And we're going to start with a peekaboo today. So you're going to bring both hands up to this position. So your forehead will be resting on the back of your hands. And again, remember, please, to stay in your comfort zone. If it's uncomfortable for you to have your arms here, then don't do it. So we're going to start with a peekaboo. So for peekaboo, you're going to gently lift your head. Your hands and your arms are going to stay on the floor, and you're going to lift your head and your eyes as you begin to slowly bring your head and eyes upwards. Staying in your comfort zone, just lifting your head and eyes as far as you can comfortably. So that might just be up off the floor a little bit. It might be up towards the ceiling. And when you've gone as far as you can go comfortably, slowly begin to lower your head and eyes. Slow and smooth, with control. Really paying attention for those bumps and glitches, those spots in the movement where you feel like you've lost control. When your head is back down on your hands, make sure to rest. Now, keeping your head down and your hands down, you're going to lift your elbows up towards the ceiling. Again, make sure to stay in your comfort zone, lifting the elbows up towards the ceiling. So elbows will come up off of the floor. You will feel your shoulder blades kind of they'll be coming towards each other as you lift those elbows. And then super slowly with control, begin to lower the elbows back down. And remember to keep breathing at your own pace. Make sure not to hold your breath. And if you do find yourself holding your breath, I feel like you may be doing the movements too big or with too much effort. So if you do find yourself holding your breath, I want you to try to take it down a couple notches. All right, we're going to do peekaboo again. So now lifting your head and eyes. Head begins to move upwards slowly with control as your eyes also come upwards. Try to keep your eyes and your head smoothly moving together. And some of you will probably find that difficult with the eyes, especially. Hold when you've gone as far as you can go comfortably. And now slowly, with control, let your head and eyes drift back down. And once your forehead and eyes are back down to the floor, make sure to rest. And then lifting the elbows one more time. So head and hands stay on the floor as your elbows lift. You'll feel your shoulder blades coming together. Now really paying attention to the contraction in your shoulders. Slowly begin to release the arms back down. Slow and smooth, with control. And once your elbows are comfortably back down to the floor, make sure to rest. Then we're going to go into our over the shoulder exercise. So we're going to leave the right arm where it is, and your left arm is going to lengthen down beside your body. So right arm is up, left arm is down beside your body. And then you're going to turn your face towards your elbow. So your left cheek will be resting on the back of your right hand. I like to do this one with an exhale. So we're going to do an inhale first. And as you exhale, you're going to lift your head, chest, and elbow. And I want you to also lengthen and lift your left leg. Remember, only lift that left leg, maybe a foot off the floor. Hold for just a moment. And then super slowly, lowering your head, your chest, and your elbow, and your leg. Slow and smooth. Back down to the floor. And make sure to rest. We'll repeat that one again, starting with the inhale first. Inhale. And exhale, lifting your head, chest, and elbow, gently looking over the right shoulder as you lengthen and lift the left leg. Hold for just a moment and super slowly begin to release, slowly with control. Letting the leg, the head, and the chest come back down to the floor. And make sure to rest. And we'll repeat that one more time, starting with our inhale. And exhale, lifting your head, chest, and elbow, gently looking over the right shoulder as you lengthen and lift your left leg. Hold for a moment and super slowly, lowering back down to the floor, as slow and smooth as you can. When everything is back down to the floor, make sure to remind yourself to rest. And then we're going to switch sides. So you'll bring your right arm down beside your body as your left arm comes up now. And you'll be resting your right cheek on the back of your left hand. And we'll start with our inhale first again. So inhale. And exhale, lifting your head, chest, and elbow, gently looking over the left shoulder as you lengthen and lift the right leg. Hold for just a moment and super slowly as you inhale now, slowly lowering back down to the floor, slow and smooth. Make sure, please, to remind yourself to stay in that comfort zone and watching for those things. Like I said, if you feel like you're holding your breath, please try to make it a little smaller so that you can breathe comfortably. Repeating that one again. Inhale first. And exhale, lifting your head, chest and elbow, looking over the left shoulder as you lengthen and lift the right leg. Hold for a moment and super slowly, with control, lowering your head, your chest, your elbow, and your leg all at the same time. Nice and smooth. And make sure to rest when you've finished. I'm repeating that one more time, starting with our inhale first. And exhale, gently lifting your head, your chest, and your elbow, looking over the left shoulder as you lengthen and lift the right leg. Hold for a moment and super slowly, lowering back down to the floor as slow and smooth as you can. And when everything is back down to the floor, make sure to rest. Good, and when you finish that one and you're ready, rolling back over onto your back with your knees bent and your feet standing flat on the floor again. Now we're going to bring both hands up behind the head or behind your ears. This is one too where if it's uncomfortable for your shoulders, you can either leave your arms laying flat or you could put cushions under your elbows if you need to. And we're going to do opposite elbow to knee first. So we're going to start with our inhale and our arch. So inhale and arch as you gently tilt your hips forward, rolling your tailbone down and forward into the floor. Press your shoulders down into the floor and think of drawing them towards your tailbone. Do this gently. Tilt your head back and let your jaw open softly. Hold for just a moment, and now super slowly as you exhale, slowly releasing the contraction in the back of your neck, slowly releasing in your shoulders and in your pelvis, slowly letting your back come towards the floor. And at the very end of that release, going into flatten by bringing your pubic bone to your ribs and your ribs to your pubic bone. Bring your elbows together now and gently lift your head and chest towards your right knee. So they're not coming straight up. Both elbows are going towards your right knee. Very good. Hold for a moment. Super slowly now let your head come back down to the floor. Super slow and smooth. And once your head is resting on the floor, then slowly letting your elbows open. Once your elbows are resting on the floor, make sure to rest everything. And we'll start another one. This time we'll be going to the left knee. So inhale and arch, rolling your tailbone forward and down into the floor. Press your shoulder blades down to the floor, draw them towards your tailbone. Tilt your head back and let your jaw open softly. Super slowly now, exhale as you slowly release the contraction in your neck, in your shoulders, and your back. And at the very end of that release, going into flatten, bringing your pubic bone to your ribs to your pubic bone. Bring your elbows together now, tucking your chin gently, and lift your head and chest towards now your left knee. Hold for just a moment, and now super slow and smooth. Bringing your head back down to the floor. Once your head is resting comfortably on the floor, slowly, with control, opening the elbows as slow and smooth as you can. And once your elbows have come back down to the floor, make sure to rest. And we're going to do another one to the right. This time we'll be adding in, bringing the knee towards the elbows, if it's comfortable for you to do that. So starting with the inhale again, inhale and tilt as you roll your tailbone forward and down to the floor. Press your shoulder blades down, draw them towards your tailbone and tilt your head back. Hold for a moment. Exhale as you super slowly release the contraction in your neck, slowly releasing in your back, as slow and smooth as you can. And at the end of that release, going into flatten, bringing your pubic bone towards your ribs to your pubic bone, bringing your elbows together and gently lifting your head and chest towards the right knee. And if it's comfortable for you, bringing your right knee towards your elbows. Hold for a moment and super slowly, slowly with control, releasing everything back down to the floor. As slow and smooth as you can. Making sure to rest. When you've finished. And we'll repeat one more to the other side. So starting again with our inhale and arch, rolling your tailbone forward and down into the floor, pressing your shoulders down, drawing them towards your tailbone, tilting your head back, letting your jaw open softly. Hold for a moment. Exhale, super slowly, releasing the contraction in your back, slowly releasing in your neck, as slow and smooth as you can. And at the end of the release, going into flatten, bringing your pubic bone towards your ribs and your ribs down to your pubic bone as you flatten your back to the floor. Bring your elbows together and gently lift your head and chest towards your left knee and bringing the left knee, if it's comfortable, towards your elbows. Hold for a moment and super slowly begin to release. As slow and smooth as you can. And when your head is back to the floor, slowly with control, letting your elbows drift back down. Super, super slow and smooth. And make sure to rest when you've finished. And now we're going to do our regular arch and curl, so we'll be going straight to center. So starting again with an inhale and tilt, rolling your tailbone forward and down into the floor. Pressing your shoulder blades down and drawing them towards your tailbone, tilting your head back, letting your jaw open softly. Hold for a moment. Exhale as you super, super slowly begin to release the contraction in your back, in your neck, slowly with control. And at the very end of the release, going into flatten, bringing your pubic bone towards your ribs and your ribs down to your pubic bone as you flatten your back to the floor. Bring your elbows together and gently lift your head and chest into a soft curled position. And hold for just a moment. And now super slowly, letting your head come back down to the floor, as slow and smooth as you can. And once your head is back down to the floor, slowly, with control, letting those elbows open back down. And make sure to rest when you've finished. And we're going to do one more. So inhale and tilt, rolling your tailbone forward and down into the floor, pressing your shoulder blades down and drawing them towards your tailbone, tilting your head back, letting your jaw open softly. Hold for a moment. And exhale, super slowly releasing the contraction in the back of your neck, Releasing in your back, slow and smooth as you can. And at the very end of the release, going into flatten, bringing your pubic bone to your ribs and your ribs to your pubic bone as your back flattens to the floor. Bring your elbows together and gently lift your head and chest into the soft curled position. And if you would like to, you can also lift your feet gently off the floor. This is completely up to you. Only do it if it's comfortable. Hold for a moment. And now super slowly lowering your feet. Slowly lowering your head, as slow and smooth as you can. And once your head is back down to the floor, slowly, with control, letting your elbows open up again. And once your elbows are back down to the floor, make sure to rest. And then when you're ready, without rushing, you're going to go back into your self-scanning position. So if you had your legs laying flat for your scan at the beginning of class today, you're going to lay them flat again. And we'll start at the top of our head again. So go ahead and just sort of roll your head gently from side to side if that's what you did at the beginning of class. And really just paying attention to if you notice any differences now compared to when we started. And then moving from your head and neck and into your shoulders, thinking about how your shoulders feel on the floor now. And then moving from your shoulders down into your arms. Try to remember how they were at the beginning of class and how they felt at the beginning of class. And then moving from your arms back into your torso, coming down through your belly. Now paying attention to your low back. How does your back feel now compared to when we started? Moving from your low back into your hips. And from your hips down through your legs, all the way to your feet and toes. And then when you're ready, without rushing, you're going to roll to your side and come up to a sitting position. And we have about 2.5 minutes for any questions or comments. So I'm going to unmute everybody. We'll see how everybody's feeling. Deanne, your doggy was definitely enjoying the class today.
She's so funny. Oh my God. I think she thinks she's doing it.
Well, there actually is canine somatics and there is equine somatics as well. So you can do somatic exercises with your animals. I actually did some with Piper after she broke her leg.
Oh.
Because she really favored that leg a lot. So I would do some movements with her. So your dog probably knows. And the whole idea of pandiculation, which the pandiculation is that slow release of the contraction. All vertebrate animals do that. So when you see dogs and cats, like when they wake up and they stretch, right? Mm-hmm. That stretch and that slow release they do is a is a pandiculation. And that's exactly what we're doing. So they do